Coming up,
We spend a lot of time in the car, at our desk, and our hips are a holding ground for emotion and stress.
personal trainer Morgan Shapiro has 5 movements to help your hips heal from all the tightness that sitting causes. Then visit this museum featuring local artists and sustainable produce from plants you can grow in SoFlo. Plus, you'll want to hear from the experts about keeping your physical and financial health in order too.
All that and more is today on SoFlo Health. This is Tomato. Hello and welcome to SoFlo Health. I'm Hunter Franke, and it's so good to be back after 2 weeks off. Yes, today we are at MoCA, as you just saw, which is the Museum of Contemporary Art here in North Miami. We've been here before in a previous episode of SoFlo Health. During the pandemic, we saw a beautiful exhibit. Now we've got some local artists with some exhibits that you can see and even some that you can taste. So let's go inside and meet Adize and learn what's going on. Hey Adize, good to see you.
Hi Hunter, how are you?
I'm excited to be back at MoCA. For people that missed our last episode when we were here, what is MoCA?
MoCA is the Museum of Contemporary Art in North Miami, and we put on fantastic exhibitions that feature artists who are under-recognized or in a really crucial moment in their career, and that's so happens to be the case with Didier Williams.
This is Didier Williams' work?
Yes.
Start with this. What's
Sure.
behind this?
So this is a painting that he made specifically for this exhibition called 83rd Street, and it is focused on the history of his family and their immigration story. So he really uses the idea of personal memory and history to think about bigger ideas that include politics, that include the history of nations, that include larger art historical features.
So is this a good example of having local artists here at MoCA?
Yes, one of the things that we're really excited about is how we can bring local artists who are working in the community into our walls. But Didier's story is especially exciting for us because he grew up in North Miami. He went to school very close by. He would walk to his job that's just beyond the parking lot of our institution, and so he's very much been a part of this community. He lives in Philadelphia now, but it was an exciting moment for us to have him come back to the place that was so foundational. Some of the paintings in this room happened, not even 10 blocks from where we're standing.
Yes, and it's not just this room, so let's head to the next one and show how much work he really has.
Of course.
Let's do it. Now this piece by Didier is pretty impressive. Tell me about it.
Sure. So this was actually commissioned specifically for our exhibition here,
Wow.
and it's one of the first monumental sculptures that he's made, so we're really proud of it. And the name of the work is Potomitan 2, and it is an exploration of Haitian religious practices, and it's meant to be a figure that is abstract, but you can still see, a hand here, a foot there. It's hovering above the ground, and it's suspended from the ceiling, and it has a lot of special meaning to him.
Yeah, I mean, what is that, 15 feet? 20? That's a pretty tall piece of work.
Pretty tall, pretty tall.
Yeah. Tell me about his style. What should people expect when they come to see?
Sure, so he has a lot of different methods of working. With his painting, he carves into the wood board, and he's showing that here in this sculpture. So all of these thousands of eyes he went in and did with a Dremel, and then went over with this special ink, and it took a really long, intense time to produce, but it's also a part of his other works that are on view. So this motif of the eyes really came into play a little bit later in his career, but it's something that he's focused on. We always say when you look at his work, the work looks back at you.
Right. If we actually take a couple of steps back and open up a little bit, we've got quite a bit to see. So what can people expect from what else is a part of this exhibit?
Sure, so there's a lot of really incredible canvases where he's talking about super specific moments in his young life, taking a bus ride from North Miami all the way down to South Miami to a magnet school that he went to school in at a very young age. He's also thinking about the larger art historical canon. So you have images that people are probably more familiar with different figures in it. And he puts his own spin on a lot of things too, which is really exciting for us.
Yeah, so if you're a North Miamian, you might see some things or recognize a few motifs here while you explore. Now I hear that you're not just a curator here, but it's the first time that they've had an in-house curator in a while. Tell me about that.
So MoCA wanted to bring in the curatorial voice to staff permanently, and so I came into play that way. And it's been really exciting to shape the goals of the program, to continue the guest curator program, but also to bring in some really exciting South Florida specific voices. I think that's one of the main projects that I've been doing here as well.
Well, we're excited to see it. You keep watching SoFlo Health. We still have more to see here at MoCA and some of the exhibits that Adize has curated herself. So stay with us. Brett, thank you so much for spending some time with us today.
Sure, glad to be here.
So tell me, when it comes to managing our money, what do people get wrong?
They get a lot of things. I think the first thing that a lot of people think they can do is manage their money themselves and sort of look at their financial health on their own without any kind of professionals.
And how can having a professional manager help someone even if they're pretty savvy themselves?
Sure. Well, I think the obvious thing that most people do is either use a simple program online and say, okay, or rules of thumb. A lot of people use rules of thumb. How much can I spend? How much should I be making? How much should I be saving? The reality is rules of thumb are for the average person. No one's average. Everyone's a little unique. And so we like to use software that has better tools, more sophistication, more assumptions, just gives someone the ability to change more variables and have it more customized to them.
Not to mention that your professional manager is also a sounding board for when things get tough. Why is that important?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, people are not the best at making decisions. We tend to have emotional ties. For example, you inherit a stock, you inherit a piece of art, you inherit something. You want to keep that because that reminds you of the person that you had in your life, but the reality is that might not be the best idea to keep that just because that thing doesn't know that you're keeping it. That person doesn't know you're keeping it. So sometimes it's not the best thing to just keep something just because you inherited it.
Brett, as the investor, what is the benefit to having a manager? What do they do for me?
So a financial planner, in our firm at least, is a CFP, Certified Financial Planner. And that means by definition, number one, they're fiduciary. Fiduciary means you have to put your client's best interest first. You have to do what's best for the client. So for example, if somebody has a mortgage that they say, well, I want to pay off the mortgage, but that means taking money out of your pocket, out of my account, reducing fees. If that's the best thing for the client, we have to recommend that. And financial planning to us means estate planning, insurance planning, tax planning, retirement planning, investments. It's anything you can think of that revolves around money.
Right, so it's more than just stocks and investments and saving money.
Right, correctly. It's everything that someone would need because the reality is that financial plan should be built on all the topics combined. You can have a great investment philosophy, you can be making a lot of money. If you have an insurance event that takes away half your money, or you don't have the right estate set up, and something happens and you get either a divorce or there's a death in the family, that could torpedo the entire plan.
If people would like to learn more, how can they?
So the best place probably is through our website, Evensky.com, and you can go directly on there, contact us.
Excellent. Well, Brett, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Stay close, more at MoCA, and Morgan has stretches to keep your hips in hip-top shape when SoFlo Health returns.
Focusing on you. Innovations in modern medicine from your team of experts at UHealth, the University of Miami Health System.
When a strange rash appeared on Zuri Whitcomb's face, along with a bruise on her thigh that wouldn't heal, she was at a loss.
Well, the rash, it actually itched very much and it turned into scabs.
After several misdiagnoses, she met with Dr. Danielle Dawes, a UHealth dermatologist who's also part of the Skin of Color division, a group of doctors specializing in ethnic skin care, who diagnosed Zuri with lupus, an autoimmune disease.
It can be very complex sometimes to recognize whether or not someone has lupus because it can affect any organ. So you can get skin rashes, you can get joint pains, you can get breathing problems, you can have kidney problems.
When a patient like Zuri is diagnosed with an autoimmune condition such as lupus, UHealth's multidisciplinary approach can help treat all areas of the body that are affected.
We may include the nephrologist or the kidney doctor. If you have lung involvement, we may include the pulmonologist.
Zuri is now on an oral medication for her kidneys, and her rash and bruise have cleared.
this is something that you have to live with, but it can be controlled.
She's grateful to Dr. Dawes for giving her her life back.
She gave me confidence and control over my life again.
Welcome back to SoFlo Health. I'm Hunter Frankie. This is Adize of MoCA, which is where we are today. That's the Museum of Contemporary Art here in North Miami. And Adize, where are we now?
Sure, so we're in Leah Gordon's Carnival, which is an exhibition of 23 photographs that she has done over several decades in Jacmel, Haiti, about carnival and the different expressions that people do throughout the parade and as they do processions and the different costumes over generations.
Now this looks a little different than the Carnival maybe we're all used to here in Miami.
This particular community is really focused on the acts of resistance that were part of the original activation of Carnival, and as a response to being enslaved and oppressed, being able to have freedom of expression. And so this community in particular really wants to hold on to the roots of that. And so their costuming and their troops are very much more of a DIY aesthetic, or at its core, the history of certain saints or histories within Haiti. So that's why it looks a little bit different than what we're used to.
And what happens in that room over there?
Yeah, so there's an incredible film that Leah made. She went back to Jacmel in 2022 and filmed Carnival. There are amazing juxtapositions between the black and white photos in this room with this amazing immersive color. There's blues and greens, people moving and dancing. You hear sound in such a specific way. So it really tells this history of Haiti, and from the perspective of the people who live and work and celebrate in that space.
All right, and now I understand that there's one more exhibit to see, and it's a local.
Yes.
Where's that?
It's outside in our courtyard, so it's really exciting to have things activated in our gallery, but also in different parts of the museum.
All right, well, let's head out there.
Sure.
Meet us there. Where are we now?
So we are in MoCA's Paradise Courtyard, and we are in our new exhibition installation for our program called Welcome to Paradise. And this is Emmett Moore's Victory Garden.
And looks like there's food here.
Yeah. So it's really actually exciting. It's all native and local plant varieties that people can grow on their own in Florida. And so we have, kale in our space, but we also have things that are super, super local, like these sea grapes and loquats, Everglade tomatoes.
Yeah, let's move on here.
Sure.
I mean, if you're anywhere near the beach, you've seen these sea grapes for sure. Got spinach.
Yeah, but did you know these are edible?
They're edible?
Yeah.
I'm not eating it.
Yeah, well, I think it'll take a little bit of a while before we see any fruit on these trees, but we really wanted to highlight how native plants are sources of food and things that people don't normally think of as edible.
I did not know that they fruit, because I was not going to eat those leaves.
Yeah, we're the grape.
And what do we have here?
So these are Everglades tomatoes, and they are a variety of tomatoes that is native to the Everglades, and they're pretty tiny. We have some crops here, and people have been coming in on their lunch break and grabbing a tomato before heading back into the office.
I can eat this?
Yeah, go ahead, take a bite.
There we go. It's a very tiny tomato, but perfect for a snack. Ooh,
tastes like a
and
tomato.
Delicious, yeah. That's great. Wow, very, very fresh. And why is there a barrel with what looks like a phone charger sticking out of it?
Yeah, so one of the things that Emmett's project really investigates is this idea of sustainability and reusing materials that we have. And so these are all recycled steel drums that people can have access to build their own mini gardens. And one of the things that Emmett also wanted to explore is solar sustainability and using solar power to rethink how we navigate the world. So people can sit down and harvest some things in the garden, but they can also charge their phone or their laptop, spend some time out here. It's pretty cool.
Very cool indeed. I think it's great to be able to not only go appreciate local artists, but also other local artists that are showing you more than, I guess, what people would think of as typical art. This is a great exhibit that encourages people to be more sustainable, see the power of solar, and it's nice to have a little tomato snack too.
Yeah, exactly.
And now for people at home that want to learn more about MoCA, how can they?
Sure, so they can go on our website, mocanomi.org. They can follow us on social, and they can also sign up for our newsletter. So we tell people about amazing programs that happen here all the time.
All right, well, listen, thank you so much for the wonderful tour that you've given us here today. There's still more to see that we didn't show you because that's for you to figure out. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for coming by.
Of course.
We're back at MyCare Medical. I'm here with Dr. Toledano, Senior Medical Director at MyCare Medical. What does that mean to be Senior Medical Director?
Well, as Senior Medical Director, my goal is to strive to provide the patients of our community with access to 5-star quality care medicine. And it is accomplished by engaging our board-certified physicians and clinicians that interact and provide patients with a comprehensive exam and services that are needed to ensure that they meet and preserve quality care.
Speaking of quality care, we were talking earlier off camera about the importance of living a healthy lifestyle for seniors especially. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
At MyCare Medical, it's all about prevention, engagement, and education. Insofar as prevention goes, our goal is to identify disease early in its process so that we can do something significant about it. When a patient comes in, our goal is for them to have a wonderful experience and to make it convenient. So we provide EKG services, ultrasound services, mammogram services, access to diabetic eye exams, preventative vaccinations. It's all about prevention, education, engagement, and participating in exercise and a great dietary program.
Dr. Toledano, how can we find out more?
We have a nice website. The patient can access more information about the services provided at MyCare Medical and social media.
Thank you very much, Dr. Toledano.
It's a privilege and a pleasure working with you and with the patients of our community, and I look forward to seeing our patients at the clinic nearest you.
The extra health benefits of squats and 5 of Morgan's hip helpers are after the break on SoFlo Health. Squat exercises aren't just for athletes. You can do them as a part of your regular exercise routine. They strengthen your lower body, targeting your glutes and quadriceps. They also make you use your core muscles. Other muscles that benefit from squats are hip muscles, calves, hamstrings, and obliques. Squats burn calories and might even help you lose weight. They also lower your chances of injuring your knees and ankles. As you exercise, the movement strengthens your tendons, bones, and ligaments, all around your leg muscles. It takes some of the weight off of your knees and ankles. They help make your knees more stable as well. What's more, squats may also help boost your bone mineral density for stronger bones. It adds strength to your skeleton, mainly in the spine and lower body area. Squats improve your flexibility too. As you become older, your tendons and muscles and ligaments, they become less elastic. Regularly doing squats can help slow down this process and limber you up. Squats help you feel and look good. Squatting helps shape up your legs and butt since it targets the glute and inner thigh muscles. As your buttocks become firm, your posture and balance might improve. How to do squats? Do squats the right way to protect yourself from getting injured. Poor form can take a toll on your spine and knees over time. The right way to do a squat is to stand with your feet apart and parallel to each other. Place your hands on your thighs, look up, and lift your chest. Bend your knees at a 90-degree angle, putting all of your weight on your heels and sitting back slowly. Your knees shouldn't go beyond your toes, and your head and chest should stay upright. Hold the position for 5 seconds. Rise back up, pressing through your heels, and straighten your hips back to the starting position. Squats are one of the most effective strength training exercises around. If you're not working out already, talk to your doctor before you get started. They can let you know if squats are safe for you to do. You might also want to think about working out with a professional trainer who might make sure you're using the right form. I think I know one, and her name is Morgan Shapiro.
What's up? Today we're on beautiful Fort Lauderdale Beach and we are talking tight hips. I have 5 moves for you. We are starting off with the adductor rock. You want to keep your hands in your knees, shoulder width apart, sticking your right leg out to the side, getting a nice stretch in that inner thigh, being sure to brace your core, keep the hips square, and then just slowly rock forward and back. You'll feel a little stretch in that inner thigh, but you don't want to push it to the point where you feel pain. Next, we have the hip flexor stretch. Your leg is at 90 degrees. Other knee is straight down. You are tucking the back toe to tuck the glutes. Hands on the back, and then you are slowly going forward, getting a little stretch in that front hip flexor. You want to be sure not to lean your torso too much forward, keeping your chest lifted, really focus on getting a stretch in that front hip flexor. Now we have a progression of the hip flexor stretch. We are doing a hip flexor stretch with the rear foot elevated. We're gonna reach back for that leg, getting a nice stretch in that quad, getting deeper into that hip flexor. Keeping the hips square, rocking forward and back, really making sure to have some discomfort but no pain. Next up, we have the 90-90. SoFlo fans may remember this one from in the past. We are placing both legs at a 90-degree angle, keeping that chest lifted, keeping that butt planted firmly into the ground. You're gonna switch over from side to side. Really take your time with this one. This is very difficult, so feel free to be very humble with it. Get a nice stretch in those hips, chest lifted, and go at your own pace. The 90-90 is really good for opening up those hips. You know, we spend a lot of time in the car, at our desk, and our hips are a holding ground for emotion and stress. So this is really gonna help alleviate some of that tension. And last, we have the toe touch squat to hamstring stretch. You're gonna stand a little wider than hip width, tucking those hands under those toes, a nice deep squat, and then you're gonna stand up straight, stretching those hamstrings, butt up to the ceiling. Again, taking your time, feeling the stretch, feeling the hips open, going down and up. So there you have it, guys. 5 moves to help alleviate some of that tightness and that tension we hold in those hips. So you get to it. I'm gonna go enjoy the beach.
Welcome back to SoFlo Health. I'm Hunter Franke. I'm in the Victory Garden at Mocha, North Miami, charging my phone using the solar-powered charger, which is this barrel behind me. We talked about that earlier. And I'm next to some thyme, rosemary, sage, garlic chives, marigolds, and even a Jamaican cherry. There's so much more behind me as well, and that's just what's great about being in this garden. It reminds you that we can grow all of this right here, fairly simply, if we just take the time to learn. Get it? The time? Anyway, that's all we have for this week's episode of SoFlo Health. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to everyone here at Mocha for having us today. As always, you can watch previous episodes of SoFlo Health on SoFloShows.com. You can follow us using @SoFlo Health to share with us what you're doing to stay healthy. Until next week, it's goodbye and good health.
Next week on SoFlo Health, it's time that we've all had a refresher on how to properly perform CPR. So we'll do just that thanks to the American Heart Association. Plus, the usual fun and effective ways to look and feel good in SoFlo. It's all right here next week on SoFlo Health, and we'll see you then.